Hey guys, Scott here, and today I want to join the discussion on save the best for last balancing. I have seen this honestly over the past several years. People have been saying that it might be a little bit too strong, and especially since the attack cooldowns were changed a little bit ago to make it so that attacks cool down 0.3 seconds faster. So everybody essentially was given some stacks of save the best for last for free. It's been a point of contention whether or not the perk is too strong. Additionally, it is used to heavily reward camping for people that are nearby the hook. They can hit the unhooker and hit him again before they really have a chance to do much of anything. And that is another reason people are really against it. A lot of people think that it gives them kind of no chance in a chase. Once they get hit, if they're in a bad area, they're just pretty much dead. And so that's why people have been talking about whether or not it's too strong for a good while now. Now, I could make the argument that they should maybe have changed it with the attack cooldown change because, yeah, basically it's like everyone can have 10 stacks to save the best for last now instead of the 8 that is the current max if we go by the old 3-second attack cooldown. And it does give you a ton of value. So if I had to make any concession for the perk, I would say maybe limit it now to 6 stacks just so we can have roughly the same amount of attack cooldown that we had before 6.1. So that I think would be fair if I think it needed a change. The thing is though, personally, I think it is okay. I think it is probably the strongest perk that doesn't teeter into being overpowered. And it's basically has to do with the patch that we have right now. One of the worst things about Save the Best for Last is it rewarded camping pretty heavily. If you were face camping a hook and someone tried to save and you had max stacks to Save the Best for Last, that guy was going down like very, very quickly. And that made it really good for even tunneling off the hook as well. You can hit them, recover, even if they get bar time, doesn't matter. You just you catch up really, really fast. And for those reasons, yeah, it was kind of lame. However, the anti-camping feature basically doesn't allow you to do that anymore. You can't just face camp someone and hit them off the hook immediately. You can try proxy camping, but you still have to run to them so they can still gain a bit of distance going somewhere, right? So it doesn't quite work as well anymore. So the whole camping, it's too strong for camping argument is not as strong either. Additionally, I've noticed a lot of the times I see clips of people getting down with Save the Best for Last. It is because they don't take a straight line after they get hit. I made a video maybe like a year or two ago where I said you should stop trying to spin right before you get hit. And I meant to say you should stop trying to spin if you are healthy. Now, if you're injured, obviously you have no other options. You just try to spin the killer because what else are you going to do, right? But if you're healthy, I can't count the amount of times I get it down because someone tries to spin while they're healthy and I hit them as they're rotating the wrong direction and they waste half of their speed burst running into a wall, running back into me, running away from anything, running into a dead zone, and then they end up dying and going, oh, that's unfair. It's like, no, it's because you didn't run straight after getting hit. It's boring and it's more fun to try to go for a spin. And obviously, if you are, injured, then you should definitely try it. But I've noticed a lot of the clips that I've seen with people suffering from Save the Best for Last going down 5 seconds later are just because people are spinning or not running in a straight line. The number one counter to Save the Best for Last is when you know you're about to get hit, do not try to spin. Find the nearest tile, just look anywhere in the map, and just align yourself with it in a perfectly straight line. Chances are you're still probably going to be able to make it there. You still make like 10 seconds of distance as long as you run perfectly straight. The problem is most people don't run perfectly straight. They curve a little bit, and you would be so surprised how much just veering off a little bit to the left and the right, not going perfectly straight, will make you lose half the distance that you would have gotten with mass stacks to Save the Best for Last. So that, I think, is something that people can improve on and not necessarily blame the game for. Because I say this from a killer perspective, the amount of times I get 5-second downs from full to dead with Save the Best for Last, all of them are because people run into walls, they spin into me, or they run into a dead zone because they're trying to change directions. If the person, even if I have 8 stacks to Save the Best for Last, as long as they run in a perfectly straight line towards another tile, they almost always make it. So I think that is something that Survivor players should actually try to get better at. It's boring, I know, it's fun trying to spin, but if they have Save the Best for Last, you can't afford to be doing that. So just take the boring straight line, and I think you'll find a lot less threat to the perk itself. Again, it was very strong with camping and tunneling, but that's been reduced a bit as well. So do I think the perk needs to be nerfed? No. I think it is, in its current state with the game that we have now, I think it's just barely acceptable in terms of being super strong, but not brokenly strong. I think that's okay, especially while we still have perks like made for this and stuff like that. Not to do whataboutism or anything like that, but there are definitely perks that are stronger than Save the Best for Last that are in the game right now that seem to just be okay. So I think this is okay. Maybe a patch or two ago, I would say it's too strong. If I did have to make a concession, I'd say limiting it to 6 stacks. So the attack cooldown would be more similar to how it was with 8 stacks prior to the killer buff attack cooldown recovery speed. So that would be fine. If they did that, I think I'd be okay with it. It would still basically have the same effect. It would just be a difference of like 0.2 seconds. Pretty minor, but then we'd have the same thing that we currently had. So yeah, basically my advice, if you know someone has saved the best for last, just run straight. Don't try to spin. Find a tile, run to it. You'll still probably make it unless you're in a massive dead zone. And yeah, just go from there. I don't think it is as insanely overpowered as people claim it is. It is very, very strong, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it needs to be nerfed. I think survivors mostly just screw up when going against it, and camping is not as big of a deal anymore. So, again, not saying it's not strong. It's one of the best perks in the game, but is it overpowered? No, I think it is just barely acceptable. So that's my take on it. Curious to hear you guys' take on it now, especially with the current stake of the game right now. I want a ribeye. I'm going to go make some food. Bye.